All right, welcome guys. We had a video a couple days ago on my channel about why dealership they don't pay enough for mechanics, and I've seen a lot of comments. They said if you go and find another job, you make more money. And we want to compare with Jason. Jason is a nurse. He's been a nurse for past 10 years. I want to see if is this real? How much money we make compared to nurse? How much investment we have to put to become a technician or nurse? How much time it takes to become a nurse or other technician? Is this really worth it, for either side, become a nurse or other technician? And the things people said on the comments is true or false. If you go find something else, if you find other job, you make more money. It's not just about money, as I said. Stress, the level of stress I'm thinking having as an auto technician, it's insane. It's very high. And in other things, it takes a lot of time. You need to upgrade yourself, your toolbox, and evolve with the car industry, because the car industry is evolving every day. We have many brands, we have many cars, just new cars, new technologies just keep coming to the market, and we want to find out. All right, I'm gonna go turn the camera to Jason. You want to introduce yourself, and then we go to the questions. I have 20 questions. I don't know if we have time for 20 questions, but I want to ask the most important ones.
Sure, yeah. My name is Jason. I've been a nurse for 10 years. There's different levels of nursing. So I started out as an LPN, which is a licensed practical nurse, which is a lower level of nursing, and then went back to school for RN, which is like the standard level of nursing. And then I went and got a bachelor's in nursing, which here in Atlanta has become the standard for nursing. And that's a 4-year degree. I finished that a few years ago. Right now, I currently work in the emergency department, which can be a pretty busy and crazy place to work. And I also do home infusions, which is giving medicine to people at home on a weekly or monthly basis. And that's a lot more stress-free.
Okay, thank you. There's an important question that I want to ask, but you don't need to tell about yourself. Just let's go put ourselves in the side. Okay, I want to talk about as a beginner, and you talk about the beginner nurse. How much we need to expect as a nurse to make per year?
Sure. So as a new nurse, I think they're making about $30 an hour as new nurses coming out of school, maybe $27 to $30 an hour.
When you say new nurse, after 2 years, 1 year?
So generally after 1 year, you get about 6 months of a residency, which is like on-the-job training kind of after you get your license. And you might make a little less during that time, but there's a lot of classroom still.
But you can make money while you're going through those courses.
You still make money while you're going through that on-the-job training.
And this is guarantee, right? You can make $30, and okay, that's really good.
It's pretty good.
With other technician, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic, we were making a lot less money. After the pandemic, there's a bigger need for nursing, so they have to pay more because of the need.
Wow. That's really good. You make me go quit other technician, man. All right, first question. Job satisfaction. What aspects of your job do you find most rewarding? And what are some challenges you face in your profession?
Sure. So obviously being a nurse, we get to help sick people. And that is very rewarding. Whether it's the emergency department where people come in and they might be very sick or even dying, and we have the skills and the knowledge to be able to save their lives or help them. That's a very rewarding thing. Or in surgery, when you're replacing joints or hips, that's very rewarding because people get quality of life back. But challenges are on the opposite end.
But you don't do surgery, right?
I don't work personally in surgery. Okay. Yeah, but nurses work in surgery.
Oh, okay. Help surgeon.
Yeah, they're helping the surgeon. They're passing the instruments. They're positioning the patient.
Okay. I had someone. I wish I had someone to passing with tools.
Yeah, right.
Doing this on me.
And blotting up your sweat.
Forehead sweating. Sometimes.
Yeah. Having a helper.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, next question. But as far as the auto technician, the most rewarding things when I see people, they get their car back, they're happy, they're smiling. But yeah, you can't compare a car with a human. life. Human life is it's in another level. Car, even if you don't fix it, sometimes people say, okay, I'll go change the car or take it somewhere else to fix it, but humans are totally different. All right, Next question, number 2, job opportunities. How would you describe the current job market for nurses?
Yeah, definitely after the pandemic, there are a lot of jobs for nurses, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Every nurse coming out of school is going to have multiple job offers, and they're going to be able to pick the hospital that they want to work at and the specialty they want to work at. Because as nurses, we can work in different specialties. We can work in the emergency department, or we can work on the floor where they take care of sick people after the emergency. They can work in surgery or behavioral health. And anything that interests you, you can probably get a job now, especially here in Atlanta, doing that. And that's a good thing for new grads. The bad part of that, though, is that we're currently always short-staffed. So we're always working with maybe not enough other nurses. So there's a lot of patients to the amount of nurses that are working to be able to do the work. So it's very good for new grads, but it's very difficult for us to have been nurses for a little while because there's less people working currently as nurses.
Okay. And I have another question. You said the technicians, the nurses make like $28, $30 per hour, and this is regardless. I know always, I want to say thanks God or not, there's sick people out there.
Sure, yeah.
We don't want to say thank you.
It keeps us working.
Yeah, keeps you busy like us with broken car out there. But is this something, regardless, it depends where do you work. Emergency department, always busy. Some other department, maybe not. Sometimes you have enough time, you just rest, sit down. You get paid regardless, right? Busy or not. You just, because in other technician industry, there's something it's called flat rate. And that's the most insane things, and people are complaining. Let me explain what flat rate is so you can understand. For example, we get the car to our shop or the dealer. It came from dealer, this things. I call it a scam. You take a car to the shop and there's a wheel bearing problem, okay? There's a software, it's called ALLDATA, or all car manufacturers, they have their own software. When you put for example, 2016 Toyota Highlander front right wheel bearing, that software give you 2 hours labor time, and based on 2 hours you get paid. For example, if you go to dealer and they hire you, they tell you, okay, you get paid like 25 or 18 or $30 per hour, but you don't get paid based on hours. You get paid based on hours the software give you based on the job that you finish. If that job takes 3 hours or 5 hours for some reason, you still get 2 hours. That's called flat rate. But in nursing industry, or it's not like this. The sick, the person may sit there for a couple of days. Just something happened, he can't go home, he can't move, and you still get paid. You're not getting paid based on the patient. Finish this patient and get paid. No,
yeah. The hospitals get paid per patient, but we as nurses, we don't get paid per patient. We're paid by hour. We're guaranteed 36 hours a week, which is full time. We get to 3 12-hour shifts. The only thing that's, I guess, is similar is that if the amount of people in the department, whatever department you're working on, is low, they might send some people home. So if there's not enough patients, they might ask first for volunteers, and then they might choose people and they'll send you home, and you stop getting paid once you go home. But you're guaranteed 36 hours still. So if they have to send you home, it's usually people that are on overtime, or it's people that have smaller contracts for less than full-time. So it's called PRN, they're part-time workers.
They're still a student or just...
Yeah, or maybe they work at 2 hospitals. They work at one hospital full-time. Since we only work 3 days a week, you can work 3 days in one hospital and you can work maybe 1 or 2 days in another hospital. They might send those people home early because they don't want to pay them if there's not enough work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, but they get enough job always. They get enough hours always.
Yeah, you always get your minimum of hours, whatever. It's usually 36 hours if you're working full time.
But are you able to work work 50, 60 hours a week?
Yeah, you can during the
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal. Usually they say 60 hours a week. Most hospitals have a cap at 60 hours a week that you can work because that's 20 hours of overtime that they're paying. We get paid time and a half for anything over 40 hours. So hospitals don't want to pay extra money So they usually limit it to 60 hours a week that you can work, which is 5/12, which is still a lot of hours of working. But you could get another job at another hospital and work 1 day a week there if you want to be crazy and work as many hours as possible, which a lot of new nurses do. They're young, they might be 22, 23, they're not married yet. They want to make as much money as possible. So they're working 5 days a week, sometimes 12-hour shifts, and making as much money as possible.
That's another negative things about this car industry, because there's no overtime, because you don't get paid based on time that you work, for example, from 8 to 6 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 8. I used to work at the Toyota dealership, but as I mentioned in that video, I changed 3 dealerships, and the first one, it was Toyota. And now some days, especially Saturdays, are insane. It's busiest day because people are off working, they bring their car for oil change and routine maintenance and repair. And I didn't get a chance to eat. I didn't get a chance to go to the bathroom, and still same thing. I'm dying, and just a small thing happened. It mess up whole schedule because everything is in order. You get the job, car comes, and you don't have parts, but the car is in the lift. You can't remove it. There's no way you can drop the car without the shock or strut. It's already removed, and you have to wait, and you don't know what to do, and you don't get paid.
Wow.
And if you want to work on the floor, you want to take the car outside, they don't allow you. A lot of restriction and stuff for safety. I get it, but what about my hours? And there's no overtime. For example, if I need the parts at 10 a.m. and I get the parts at 2 p.m., still I need to finish a couple cars after that until 8, and I have to finish them so the customers can get their car and go back home. But there's no overtime payment. You get paid what you work for, and as I mentioned, flat rate.
Flat rate, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, income potential. I asked education and training. What kind of education you need as to start for a nursing course?
Sure. To start nursing, generally you need some kind of general education, usually an associate's degree in general education or in science. You can get an associate's degree, which is a 2-year degree in science. And that usually gets you into the nursing program. Most programs, at least here in Atlanta and in most cities now, they want you to have your bachelor's degree when you come out of school. So that's a 4-year degree, but usually it can take longer than 4 years to get, because before they accept you into the nursing school, they want you to have that associate's degree in some kind of science first. What hospitals are looking for here and in most cities is a bachelor's degree. So that's a 4-year degree. That gets you into mainstream nursing.
This is after diploma or finishing the high school?
Yes, this is after high school.
Okay.
Yep. So you have to finish high school, and then you have to get a 2-year degree generally, and then you can go for your 4-year degree.
But then after 2 years, you can study for that 2 years.
2 years more.
Over 2 years, okay.
Yep. So you can do a 2-year degree and then study 2 more years to get your 4-year degree.
Okay.
That's mainstream. I started out as an LPN, which is actually just a 1-year course, but LPNs are like entry-level nurses that are usually used in nursing homes or maybe med-surg. They don't have the best availability of jobs as an LPN. And they get significantly less pay. They might get $20 to $25 an hour after, and that's with experience. And then RNs, they get more.
Okay, when they get like $25 or $30 per hour, what about the vacation and benefits? What do you get alongside with the salary?
Sure. I mean, you get a standard amount of vacation days. So that would be probably, depends on your hospital, maybe 8 to 10 vacation days a year. And those are paid vacation days. And holidays, which is another probably 8 to 10 holidays a year, you get paid time and a half for coming to work. But the downside of that is we work a lot of holidays. Nurses have to work Christmas. Nurses have to work whatever your holiday is. We generally have to work 3 holidays a year. So we usually have to work one summer holiday like Martin Luther King Day or Memorial Day that just passed. We have to work those, but they pay us extra for it. And then we have to work 2 major holidays. So that would be here, that would be Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's.
4th of July.
4th of July, kind of more major holidays. We have to work 2 of those a year.
Like cops.
Like a cop, yeah. Cops are always working 24/7, and nurses in a lot of fields are also working 24/7.
Next question. Work Life balance. How demanding is your job in terms of hours and work-life balance? You basically mentioned that, but yeah, I want you just explain a little bit more how you balance it. Does your hours, conflict with your lifestyle? Just I know you work in church. Your wife, she works at like a ministry, but I want to see how is this balance work and how you handle it.
It's definitely something that you have to learn, work-life balance, because we only, people always say you only work 3 days a week, but these are a very demanding 12 hours. You are exhausted after working these 12 hours. So usually it takes about 1 day to settle back in. And that's if you work day shift. A lot of nurses, the same amount of nurses, have to work night shift as well. And they're working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So their work-life balance is a lot more difficult when you work night shift, which a lot of new nurses have to work.
Is this based on their contract or no? Hospital can change your time anytime they want?
It's based on contract. You're hired for either day shift or night shift.
Oh, okay.
But the hospital, they can switch those sometimes. You can be hired for day shift, but they might say, we're going to need you on night shift. Different hospitals have different policies. Night shift is the easiest to be hired for because they're always needing more people. And you make a little more money. They generally make about $4 to $5 more an hour than the day shift does. Because it's so hard to work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You get home at 8 or 9, you shower, and you're going to bed at, maybe 10 in the morning. You're going to bed when the sun's up and your family's active.
A lot of noise and
light. And then if you have children, maybe when they're at school, you can sleep. But when they get home and it's, kids running around, they probably wake you up. So it's difficult, and that's why they pay you $4 to $5 an hour more. And after a couple years, usually you can find a spot on the day shift. Even though you make a little less money, you sleep better because you're going to sleep every night the same. It's also sometimes difficult because, even though we're nurses and we see, very scary situations for people. People are very sick. People are dying in the emergency department. People come in that are dying. After a while, we can kind of turn off our feelings. And you said, people aren't cars. But after a while, when you're working on someone, it's a project almost. You know what to do when you have to do it. And that's probably not the most healthy either, because we kind of, they become less human maybe. Yeah. You get used to pain and suffering. But
blood
sometimes blood, sure. But sometimes we do take that home. You might have, maybe an elderly person dies. We all die one day. Yeah. So for us, it's like, okay, well, we all die. That's natural. So if someone's 90 and they die, I think, okay, it was his time to die. But when someone's 6 years old, when someone's 10 years old, I still have the memories of those people that I've seen. When someone was my age and died, that was hard because it makes me think, I am mortal.
Same
right?
age,
same age, or maybe a newlywed couple comes in and something happens. We think, they just started their lives and now something happened that could happen to my wife. So we do take those things home, and that stuff builds up. So those stresses are definitely something that nurses have to deal with.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes I've seen a lot of new cars died in front of me, and I never grieved. You
never grieved, right?
I never cared. Okay,
it's sad for that family, but
I get sad because of that car. There's a reason. 1% or 2%, let's say 5% of them because of the manufacturer problem, but something you couldn't handle it. But the rest of the cars are dying because of the lack of maintenance or carelessness. And this is sad too. I made another video about people, they don't care about the car. They don't do maintenance, they don't do oil change. And same thing as a human. Most humans are dying faster and sooner because they did something crazy. They didn't take care of their car, they didn't exercise, they didn't eat properly and healthy. And I think their car life and the things that you see, it's some sort of connection, because I see people, I made a video a couple of days ago about people's car dirty. And I saw a customer, when I entered her car, it was nasty. When I say nasty, it wasn't just a couple of bags and water bottle. It was leftover food, cheese, burger, half-eaten burger, bite, and he had a car seat in the back seat, and that's unhealthy. It creates disease. Like the kids get sick, your mom or someone sit in the back seat gets sick, and that take you to the hospital, and you see, you may not find out where does this come from, but I see at the source. Sure. And I'm so sad that it's happening in people's life, and people, they don't care. All right, let's go to the next question. Job security. I think you answered that, but let's talk about that job security. How stable is your job? Are there specific factors that affect job security for nurse or other technician?
Yeah, right now we have very high job security. I actually became a nurse. Everybody has their kind of origin story, why they became a nurse.
Yeah, I want to know that. Why you become a nurse? I
is-
was trying to ask you. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, this is why. So I used to have a construction company. I did roofs. It was called Hagelberger Roofing. Not
Oh, you some sort of like me. You quit your job, handyman job.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was doing that, and we got married, and very quickly my wife was pregnant, and I moved from a city into the small town where my parents are from, and there just wasn't work available. There wasn't that many roofs to fix to keep me busy. And my wife was like, listen, we can make less money, but we need consistent money. You need a job that you can always do. And I don't have to worry about 1 month you're bringing home so much money, and 1 month you're not bringing home any money.
That's the same problem with our industry, because people are complaining about dealers. They don't pay enough. As I said, there's a scam called flat rate, and if you go there, you keep making same amount of money almost. Maybe every week is just a couple cents up or a couple $1 down less, but you make money every week. But if you start a business like I did, there's no guarantee. Some week you make a lot of money, some week you just deal with the warranties and returns and stuff, and that's a bad side. But I think with nursing, it's that you don't have this problem, because even if mechanic go work at the dealer, they may see the same problem as they see when they have their own job, because you don't get guarantee pay. You work at a flat rate. Something happened with a car, something happened with the parts, missing tools and stuff, you're stuck.
Yeah, there's definitely guaranteed pay in nursing. We're guaranteed our contracted hours, and that's great. So in my town, there was a very big hospital for the Indian health. The Native Americans of my town, the government pays for one hospital for every tribe. And my town had the hospital that the government paid for. So they employed more people than even lived in my town. People traveled an hour to come work there at that hospital. So I knew in my tiny little town that was probably the best job I could get. So I studied for 1 year to get the entry-level nursing, and I started nursing because there's always going to be sick people, right? There's always a job. Maybe there's not a new roof that I need to put on someone's house, but there's always going to be someone sick.
All right. Technological impact. How has the technology changed your job in recent years? Are there any upcoming technological advancement that you think will impact your profession?
Sure. So a lot of the technology that helps us, it helps us. There's new things coming out so we can see. So there's the ultrasound. So I can actually look at the veins inside someone's body to be able to start an IV to give them medicine. I can actually see the veins below the skin, which helps us because a lot of people don't have good veins like I do, or like you do. People have very bad veins sometimes. So that gives us the ability to actually see the deeper veins. And that training is provided by the hospital, and the equipment's provided by the hospital to be able to do that. But probably biggest technology change is our medical records. Everything we do we have to make a record of it. If I start an IV on someone, I have to put it in the computer. If I give someone medicine, I scan the barcode and I scan the patient, and that way we know I'm giving the right medicine to the right patient. And all of that goes into the system because it's a record, because we charge people for every medicine we give. There's a charge. But also to make sure we're doing the right thing. If I give the wrong medicine to someone, I could hurt them. I could really hurt them. They could die if I give the wrong medicine the wrong way. So that's a lot of technology that's always changing. They're always trying to make it better and more, I guess, thorough. So it's more work for us. We used to write everything down on paper, right? Even I did that 6 years ago. Everything I did, I wrote down on paper. So I gave someone a lot of medicines, and then I came back and I wrote all the medicine on paper. Well, now we scan everything with a hand scanner. We scan the medicine, we scan the patient, and we don't write anything down anymore. We don't use any handwriting anymore.
Yeah, I saw that. People just keep typing.
Yeah, we're just typing. That's probably what we do most, is typing in the computer.
But I think this is because of the consequences and the problems happen in the hospital. But the downside of this other technician industry, dealership and stuff. In a dealer, you do typing. You need to put your hours, you need to do a lot of update and adaptation for a car after you do repairs and stuff with the scanner. But as far as the technology, I think I can say good things happening in the car industry and a bad thing. The good thing is some jobs become easier if you become a master. For example, working on EV cars, electric cars, those are new technology. Even though the first Tesla, I think it came out 2011 or 2012, but still mechanics, they're struggling to find out how to fix it. They avoid to fix it because they think it's way above their level. And unfortunately, there is no rule for them to, technicians, they need to go and pass this course to become a EV technician, to learn the EV, how to deal with electric, high voltage electric cars. And this is the negative side. We need to keep adding tools to our arsenal. We need to buy new tools. We need to buy this and that, because dealer doesn't care. The dealer tell you, this brake job or this job or this part removal takes 2 hours. Whatever it requires, it's up to you. You want to buy it or you don't want to buy it. You want to do it hand, just with hand, empty hand, or you want to buy the special tools and do it in 1 hour. Yeah, if you buy tools, you can do it in 1 hour. You make more money, but you may ended up not using that tools at all. Because you may see that car, or that parts for a couple years later. In my garage, I have a lot of special tools. I bought them because I need them, because without that tools, it was impossible to do that job. But it's sitting there and no one's buy. No one needed, unless they needed one day that they come across that parts or that car, to do it. This is the downside of the technologies and things. The car is evolving every day, changing the car industry, and new cars come to the market, and we just need to update ourselves. But the bad thing is there's nobody behind us to give us that tools or push us to go get the training, and they don't pay for training. I got some training for ABS, I got some training for airbag, and O'Reilly other part, Advanced other part. Sometimes they do, because Advanced, it's connected with the WordPack company, and WordPack is a big part distribution. They sell courses, and you need to pay for it from your pocket to learn. Go to learn ABS or airbag or some sort of specialty about the hybrid cars. That's a downside. All right, let's go to the next question. What advice would you give to someone considering career as a nurse, other technician? What quality or skills are most important for success in this field?
Sure. So if someone's starting out as a nurse, I'd say to find an area in the hospital that they love to do, because there's so many different areas of nursing, right? Like I said, there's nurses that are in surgery. There's nurses that do rehab, that help people after they're hurt. There's nurses that work with behavioral health patients that have maybe mental health problems. And there's nurses that work in the emergency department. There's nurses that are managers. There's a lot of different things you can do in nursing. So if you don't like your job, don't stick with that department, because there's so many other departments. When I started out in a nursing home, because that was a very easy job to get into when I had that lower level of nursing, and I hated it. I really didn't like it.
You're dealing with old people. They have Alzheimer's. They have
Alzheimer's, and they're beating us up because they don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
With Alzheimer's, you get older. As it gets worse, they become more kind of like children and babies.
Yeah.
So we have to feed them now because they forget how to feed themselves. We have to change their diapers, which changing a diaper for a 15-pound baby, is one thing, because I can hold him down. But when I'm changing a diaper of a 200-pound man, right, he can fight me.
Yeah.
I can't just hold him down with one hand. I can't just pick his legs up.
Yeah.
They can fight you.
And it's disgusting.
And it's disgusting. And it's a lot bigger of a diaper.
Yeah.
I did not like it.
It's like a difference between oil change and a Corolla and diesel car.
And a diesel. Yeah.
You get this much oil.
I didn't like it at all. It's hard work, because you have to pick up a baby and you have to move a baby. And now I have to pick up the 220-pound man and put him in his wheelchair. That's hard on the body.
I see a lot of women, they do this.
Yeah, a lot of women do that. A lot of immigrant women work in nursing homes because it's a very easy job to get. Yeah. They have to. So I didn't like that at all. So I left and I went to work in the med-surg, which is the floor for sick people. If you're sick and spend the night in the hospital, those floors are called med-surg. And I didn't like that either. I worked there a year, but it just felt like the same every day. I was just giving people medicine. I was just, they were there for a few days, and I didn't feel like I was doing much besides just handing out medicine. And I wanted to do something that I felt like I was helping people. And then one day they sent me to the emergency department because it was very busy and they needed help. And I thought, this is it. This is where I want to be.
Oh.
So I found my passion in that. And I've been there ever since. So nurses, sometimes we get tired. We get wore out of our job. Well, there's a lot of different
everybody,
jobs. Everybody does.
Everyone did.
The great part about nursing, though, is I can go and do something else.
Different in the same field.
In the same field, same training, same education. I just apply to somewhere else and they'll actually train me for that floor because maybe it's a little different. Emergency department, we get the people when they're very sick and dying, usually, or they have a stubbed toe and we get them and then we say we stabilize. We just make them okay at the moment and then we send them to somebody else and they do all the healing. Maybe you want to do the healing, so you can go work there. So if you're not loving your job as a nurse, it's okay. Like, go somewhere else. Fine. There's always another job. Especially in nursing, there's always somewhere else you can go.
But for people, they may watch this video in future. They may not be in this field yet. But that, as what I picked up from in nursing industry, there's a lot of field. It's good to do your research at the beginning to find out what you can do. You like working at a nursing house, I don't know, maybe you like working in the emergency or helping surgeon, it's just, you need to do your research to find out because you become a nurse because there was not another opportunity in your town, your place that you're living. But I'll become an auto technician, the same thing. I didn't have a passion at all. And I remember some time in my life, I hated mechanic because always nasty. I don't like my hand get greasy and oily, but I'm getting used to it right now. I don't care anymore, but I use gloves always. But I hated it. My dad was an electric engineer and his job was so clean, he had his own place. He was working always. I didn't like that job too. My actual job was embroidery and alteration and back home, and it was so clean. The environment that I was working, it was so clean. But the bad downside of the job, I didn't want to do it. It was because you always doing the same thing, repeated job constantly, and you didn't. After a while, you didn't need to think. You can blindfold your eyes and do the same job, even if you're working with a sewing machine. I could do it without the eyes, without thinking. Because you become a machine, you become automated. I was doing these, what they call in English,
Color.
I was doing this color. These colors, they were giving me like 5,000 every day. And I had to sit down and there is a curve here. This curve, I'll become a master to doing this curve with the sewing machine. And I'm throwing 5,000 every day. You become a machine. What I like about the other technician, because you always challenge mentally and physically. But there is a lot of ups and downs, just how because when you start hating this field, there's no other option for you. You want to become a diesel, you will hate that too, because that's worse than gas engine. And you want to go find work in EV industry or something. It requires a lot of tools, it requires a lot of time and investment, and you need to start from the beginning, and there's no one to help and just support you. That's a bad thing. And I think that's advice that I give you for people they want to become a auto technician. I'm thinking first you need to do, because I didn't become an auto technician by choice, or I didn't become an auto technician by passion. I become an auto technician because I had to, like you. Because when I came to US in 2015, as I said, my job back there, I was alteration, embroidery, and when I came, my wife's friend husband, he had a used car dealership. And he said, oh, I need an employee. I said, I need someone to work in my company. I said, I'm still not having my driver license. I can't drive. He said, that's fine. Just we will take you every morning. We'll bring you back home, because they needed. And when I went there, I thought they want me to work in a mechanic shop or thing. And I found out they bought the land and they cut trees, and they want me to clean the trees, put it in the dumpster so they can take it out. They want to have a dealership there. They had a used car dealership, but it was tiny. It was somewhere else, and they want me to clean that yard. But I had to, and after a while, just I start liking this car industry. I was seeing mechanic working and respected, and it was respect there. And then I found out it wasn't the things that I really saw. After a while, I told my boss, "Hey, I want to become a mechanic," because there was no other things for me. I didn't see anybody else. You know, it was the first job that I see, and the first things when I landed in U.S., I saw people working on cars around me, and I just started loving it. But same advice. If you want to become an auto technician, I recommend just go research, ask questions from mechanics, the people that are in this industry for 30 years. Same thing you can do with nursing. You know, you can ask from people they've been in this industry for many years, like you, 15 years, 10 years. You can pick their advice, see if that works for you. It's just a lot of different environment.
There's a lot of options. I actually just took one of my friends. They've been here for 1 year, and I just took them to the hospital with me for a couple hours, and they just followed me around to see if they wanted to be a nurse, because I said, before you spend all the money to go to college, before you spend all the time in college, and nursing school is not easy. It's difficult to study. I said, why don't you just see even if you can be around sick people? Some people don't want to be around sick people. So I said, just follow me. You can see if we see blood, are you okay with seeing blood? And they spent the day with me, and they're like, yeah, I think I'm going to go to college for this. I think I can do it. So because some people come out of nursing school and they're like, oh, I can't do this after they get into the hospital. I thought, man, that's a lot of school and money to waste, a lot of time to waste, 4 years of school if you're not going to be a nurse.
Yeah, that's right. But is there any other way to become a nurse faster, sooner, without going under a lot of college debt or something like that? Because in other technician industry, you can. You don't need to have a certification to work as auto technician. As you mentioned, there's a lot of demands for nursing. There's a lot of demand for auto technician too. We don't have enough mechanic. We don't have a good mechanic because there's no proper training. And it's like becoming driver. Becoming driver in America is with $10 driving, permit. You can't become a driver. You drive. You become experienced driver while you're driving and hitting cars and accident. You learn, oh, you shouldn't do that. Same thing with the auto technician. People like me, I didn't have certification. I didn't have any degree. I start working at the used car dealership, and then slowly I improve myself, watch video, buy courses, buy books, and learn. So I can. But not everybody like me. I've seen people, they just start as auto technician in the same level, and a few years later you see they are still in the same level. They don't improve themselves. They're not willing to do that. Is there any other way to become a nurse instead of going 4-year college and going under the debt?
So no, you do have to go to college to be able to take like the state licensing test. You have to pass through a college, but you don't have to do all the 4 years at once. What I did, I became like a nurse aide at first. It's like a 1-month program or something. It's a very short program, and we work in hospitals and nursing homes, and they help the nurses. But a lot of that job is feeding the people, it's changing people. It's if someone can't move in bed very well, we roll them to the side and position them.
It's like a loop technician.
Yeah.
You change oil, change the diaper.
It's a lot of the entry level stuff that you don't really need education for. And then once I did that, I went a little more to school and I became a med tech, and they can pass certain medications. Nursing homes use them too to pass, because elderly people take a lot of medication. So I would pass all the medication to all the people. But there's no growth in those positions, because they're kind of at the bottom of nursing. They're important jobs, but there's no real growth in that. So then I went to school for, like I said, LPN, which is a 1-year program, and I worked as a nurse. And some hospitals use LPNs too, but they definitely get paid less. And then I went 2 more years of school and became an RN. You can technically do that with an associate's degree, with just a 2-year degree. You can take the national test and the state test and become a nurse. But a lot of places don't hire you if you just have that 2-year degree. Here in the city, here in Atlanta, if you live in outside the city, if you live in Macon, Augusta, Athens, or any medium-sized place, they'll hire you with just that 2-year degree. And then I had to go to school because I got into management. I had to go to school for 2 more years, but I did that online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question. What happened if you go overseas? If something happened, you want to live somewhere else. Can you do the same? Do you have any information? As an auto technician, I know if I go to any places around the world, dealer need the mechanic. You know, I can work any place and make money based on the currency and based on the whatever the rate they give you. What about nursing? Because nursing is not something you go and work in the store. You need to have a degree. In any country you go, they need degree.
Yeah, so any country you go, you're going to need a degree. So the good thing about having a U.S. education is that some other countries take that education level, and we might have to take their certifying exam. Just like every state here has its own exam usually. If we go to another country, we might have to take their exam, but they usually take our education. In other countries, some other countries do. We can just go and work. I know in the Emirates, I know a lot of the nurses from the Philippines, they worked in the Emirates as nurses before they came to the U.S. So they can, we can work in a lot of different countries pretty easily because of our education here in the U.S.
Because the level of
our level of education is higher for nurses.
Okay. All right, let's go for next question. Daily responsibilities. Can you just describe a typical day in your job? What are the most common tasks you perform?
Sure. So it's going to depend on kind of where the nurse works. But for me in the emergency department, we arrive before 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is when the shift starts and we have to be ready. We have a very small meeting in the morning where the charge nurse tells us our roles for the day. Usually tells us what room we're going to take care of. And so they assign us the patients that we're going to take care of. And then we go get report from the night shift nurse that's trying to go home. And they tell us, okay, the patient in room 1 came in for a heart attack, and these are the labs, and this is what I did for them, and this is the plan for them. In room 2, this person came in for something else, and they tell us what they did and what the plan is for all of our patients that we're going to take. Usually about 4 patients is what emergency nurses take. And then we take over those patients. And we go in and we have to assess the patient, look at them and see if everything is how it's supposed to be. Maybe they came in because they had a headache, but then once I get looking at them, I realize it's not a headache, they're having a stroke, which you can have a headache when you have a stroke. So we have to do assessments to see what's actually happening. Or maybe they came in for a heart attack and I look and they're getting worse and they're not getting better. So we assess all of our patients to see where they are ourselves. We don't just trust what the night shift nurse said or the day shift nurse said because things change. People get better and worse.
That's why they do a lot of testing constantly.
Lots of testing. They might come in and stick you for blood every couple hours.
Exhausting.
It is exhausting. You can't sleep at night when they come in. And that's because we're looking at that blood and seeing, is it getting better or is it getting worse? And then we decide to do things. And after that, it's just taking care of your patient. Anything, that's needed. Are they getting better? Okay, well, let's get them home. Or let's get them to the floor if they're going to spend the night. Are they getting worse? Okay, well, let's do something about it. Maybe we need to give them a medication. Maybe we need to give them IV fluids to hydrate. Taking care of that patient until they either go to the floor or they go home. And then we get a new patient and it starts all over all day.
Yeah.
Patients
but the
come and go.
good thing about the nursing, you guys are not doctor, you guys are nurse. And you go do what doctor says to do. Give this much medicine, give this. But in our job, in our industry, you need to become everything. You need to become an electrician, you need to become a suspension guy, you need to fix AC, you need to fix airbag, electronic, computer, everything. Because it's kind of embarrassing as an auto technician, when you claim you're an auto technician, go and ask someone else, hey, can you give me tools or can you show me this? And they do sometimes, but not always. It's not regularly, but in hospitals happen regularly. You ask doctor to come and inspect you, another nurse come and do that. But if the car in our shop or in our dealer stays overnight, there's no other person go in the morning to check that car. You are responsible to finish that job. And there's no things you need to continue until you finish. And you can't go ask someone else. Can you help me? There's not a teamwork, even though in some dealer we had a team leader, we had a team, but I come across the team leader. He was so unpolite person. He was disrespecting everybody, and he was downgrading all the technician. You ask question, they say something, you don't want to go and ask question again. You rather figure it out by yourself by YouTube, watching YouTube videos rather than going asking your team leader, because that's the environment you work, unfortunately. But this is not happening in nursing in hospital.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen in nursing. It does sometimes. There's some nurses that are very prideful, they're very proud, and they think they know everything. And if you don't know it, they might think that you don't know. But that's changing a lot, especially, it depends on your specialty. In the emergency department, we work together a lot because if someone's very sick, they need more than one person working on them. And we all go and work on them. It's not like a mechanic where only one person gets paid for the car. We're getting paid for our time, not for our patient. So we work together pretty well in the emergency department. Yeah, and at 7 o'clock, when that next nurse comes in,
You're done.
I'm done.
You typed everything. They
I
can
typed
read
everything
it.
up.
They can see what's
I
going on.
tell them what's happening and what I did, and then it's their responsibility. And if I come in the next day, that patient's probably gone. I don't know what happened to him. You know, if someone came in with a heart attack and then I leave, the next day I come in and they're gone.
Yeah, this is opposite of being a mechanic.
Opposite.
You know, if mechanic become a nurse, I think that they fight every day because the mechanic doesn't like to work on someone else's car if the other mechanic worked on it.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't, because they remove a lot of stuff and I don't know how to put them back. Missing screws, broken parts, you know, something they've been removed that it wasn't necessary. I don't know how to put it back. That's another thing. You don't, basically, it's a something all mechanics they have in common. They don't want to work on a car that someone else touched. No, it just, as I said, mechanic become nurse, they get in a fight every morning. You need to finish that guy.
there is some of that. There is some, I don't like how they do things. So maybe when I take over, I change things because it's my patient now.
Yeah.
So I change things. I move the medicine. I move the patient. I get it how I want it. But I'm not fighting. Unless that other nurse just left a huge mess, I'm not saying anything to them. I'm just starting myself.
Cleaning up.
Yeah.
There is another interesting things. And you know, I lived in many countries in Middle East. In Middle East, I don't know in Europe, in Middle East, if you go take your car to other repair shop, if it's oily, if not been taken care of, the guy, he can tell you, oh, take the car to car wash it and bring it back. I won't touch it.
Oh.
This is the rule. They don't do it. If it's a lot of oil around the engine, they tell you, take it to car wash the engine, bring it back, and I'll take a look. They respect their job. Or another things in those countries, if person do brakes, that's all they do. They don't even move tires. They don't do oil change. They don't check your oil filter or air filter. If they do engine performance, that's all they do. And that engine need to be clean. If they do window or they do shocks or observer or strut, that's all they do. They don't do everything. But the bad thing about the other technician here, they expect to do everything. They come and ask me, hey, can you do the AC? My headliner is dropping. Can you stick that? You need to have the tools for that. You need to buy it. You know, you need to learn how to remove it and put it back. You need to know, hey, my airbag light is on. Hey, my check engine is on. My rear tires make noise. You know, my tire is wobbling. My suspension is bad. Everything comes on one person, and that's why it takes a lot of time. I see a lot of specialty here too. People they work on Toyota, but it's just a preference. Some people they prefer to work like that. But if everybody do this, some people they do work on brakes. Some people they just work on battery. Some people they work on struts. Every person they need to know. Okay, if I go to this shop, I expect this repair. That's all. I don't expect to check my airbag, check my this, check my that. You know, that's a downside of this become auto technician in US, and you need to have tools for everything. Next question. This is very important. Public perception. How do you think the public perceives your profession? Are there any common misconceptions you like to clear up?
Sure. So nurses are voted year after year as the most trusted profession in the US. So we're very trusted people. They trust us more.
You're the least trusted people.
Yeah.
Car industry, there's no one.
There's definitely some jokes about mechanics, yeah. They trust us more than the doctors, in fact. Sometimes doctors will walk out and the patient will be like, what do you think? Do you think I should do this? because they trust us more. I guess because we spend more time with the patient. So that's our public perception is definitely one of trust, and we try to keep that. I think one misconception about nurses, one is that they're female, right? All nurses are women. We get that a lot. I walk into a room and they call me doctor all the time because I'm a man. And they just expect, or they say, why didn't you go to school to be a doctor? Why are you a nurse? And I say, I don't want to be a doctor. That's a lot of responsibility, and that's a lot of school, and that's a lot of money that I don't want. I'm fine doing what I do. So, a lot of people think that nursing is for women only. And there's only about 15% of nurses that are men. It's not very many. Most of us work in the intensive care unit, the ICU, or the emergency department, because those are more labor intensive. And another thing is, I guess a lot of nurses, they do just follow doctor's orders. We just, a lot of them just do what the doctor says. But in certain specialties, like the ICU or the emergency department, we actually make a lot of our own decisions. So we're not just following the doctor, especially if someone comes in with a heart attack or their heart's not beating and we have to do chest compressions. A lot of times the nurse will lead that attempt to get the heart started again. It's not the doctor that's leading that situation. A lot of times it's the nurse that's leading it. Some specialties you are only doing, like the med surg, when you spend the night, you're only doing what the doctor told you, basically. But in the emergency department, we're doing a lot of the things that the doctor never tells us to do. I order x-rays. If someone comes in and I think they broke a bone, I put the order for the x-ray in. If I think they're having a stroke in their brain, then I'll put the CT scan in myself. There's certain medicines that we give that we never talk to the doctor about. But that's probably why I work in the emergency department, because I can't have just someone all day telling me what to do and just doing tasks.
That's right. Yeah. There's a lot of mistrust or least trust about the mechanic. First of all, the name they call you. When I say, "Oh, I'm an auto technician," I said, "Mechanic." They correct you because they want. Mechanic is mechanic, but they don't understand the many years and investment it takes to become auto technician. It's something you need. My friend, he's a truck driver, and he was telling me, he said, "We are the one we're running the America." I said, "If I'm not fixing your car, you can't run America. You're gonna stuck." Then we are all connected to each other.
Yeah.
I don't want to just bring other technician the level to like you need to worship, but it's neat. And unfortunately, I see these two things about always people think about mechanic. They're lying. They're charging too much. And when I do a lot of mobile mechanic. When I go to the customer's house, some of them, I see that. I feel that they don't trust me. They constantly come and check. They're constantly on their phone checking what I'm doing, and taking pictures and stuff. Or some people, they ask question about, okay, why this price is like this, that. I don't blame them. They're right. This is the right thing to do. You need to make sure you need to take care of your budget. You need to pay the right amount. But if you have that feeling and you pass that feeling to the guy who's working on your car, it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't want to work on his car anymore, because I don't like someone come like you said, constantly watching your hand, watching all your moves. Where are you going? I'm going inside the car. He comes from follow him inside the car. He goes to the other side. It's uncomfortable. I'm not stealing your car. I'm here to fix your car. But you don't need to do that. If you don't trust mechanic, don't call them. Find a friend, find someone else you trust, just fix your own things first. I know a lot of mechanics, they lied, they stole parts, they didn't fix the car, but it's part of it.
Yeah.
All right, job flexibility. How flexible is your job in terms of working hours, location, and job roles? I think you mentioned that you answered that.
Yeah, I mostly answered it. So flexibility, we have a schedule, and they usually put the schedule out maybe 6 weeks ahead of time. So you really have to plan your time ahead of time. So that's the kind of inflexible part, is 6 weeks from now, I have to work that shift. There's not generally a way to get out of working a shift besides switching with a friend. You can switch with a friend if they want to, but we have to plan our life kind of 2 months in advance. But we do get vacation time, so if you plan a vacation, you have to plan it 2 months in advance to go, but then you're getting paid for the time you're not working.
But if you plan, nothing can change it. you go as a plan, regardless who's coming to the hospital, what kind of sick people are coming, how many sick people are coming to the hospital.
Yeah.
Regardless, it will not change.
If it's off, if your day's off, your day's off. They're not going to call you and make you come in. They might call you and ask you to come in. They'll probably pay you extra money if you come in, but they can't make you come in. You know, and they're not going to cancel. They can't like cancel your vacation. If I plan 3 months from now, I'm going to go to a vacation with my family and they approve it, they approve the time off, they can't cancel that later. Yeah.
Unless you want it.
Unless I want to cancel it.
There's a bad thing about this industry, auto technician and car repair. Stressful. Because people need their car. When they bring the car to the shop or they give it to you to fix it, I feel that they need it. Like me, without a car, we can't do shopping. We can't have a bread in our fridge or milk or something. Especially if they have kids, you can't pick up your kids. You can't walk to school. It looks weird, you know.
Yeah.
I had a friend. He's a truck driver, and he couldn't get his truck to the drive-through of a McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
And he walked to the drive-through. And everyone was looking at him.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. And the same thing, you need to have a time, you need to have a car to go to the drive-through. You can't walk to the drive-through, and it gives us stress because you need to finish that car. I remember I was working at the dealer. The whole dealer was shut down, closed on Sunday, and I had to go and work because I had a job from Saturday. I had to finish because the guy was traveling. He was not from Georgia. He's stuck here. He needed his car. And when they put the pressure on the manager, it's easy for manager to put the pressure on me. He called, you need to finish the car. I don't care, it's Sunday, you want to go to church, you want to do whatever you want, just come and finish this car because the customer is waiting. Or sometimes it's our hours was 9 to 6. We worked from 9 to 6 and car is not done. The part was not there. It wasn't my fault, but I had to finish it. And it's a huge amount of stress and burden. All right, next one. Job satisfaction metrics. What metrics or indicators do you use to measure your job satisfaction in your field?
I just go by how I feel.
What about the amount of money that you make?
Sure, yeah, amount of money is a good one. I mean, I definitely put up with jobs that I did not like because I was getting paid well. So I stayed because, you're making good money. So that money money talks, is a saying, money talks. Also, just trying to learn a new hospital. They have different health records that you have to learn, different storage. Maybe they have different equipment, different people. That's what, that'll keep you working somewhere just because you're comfortable there. Even if you don't love it, but you're comfortable there, that'll keep you working somewhere. But a lot of it, I think, as far as satisfaction is, yes, there's a money versus stress equation. But also, sometimes, especially in nursing, we feel good about work we do. And like I said earlier, I'm proud of the things I do. And maybe people, you gain respect as a nurse by the skills that you gain or how good you are at something. So if you're very good at IVs, people respect you for that because they're hard. IVs are hard to get sometimes. You might have been stuck once or twice trying to get blood. Or if I'm very good at doing something else that's needed, people respect you, or if I have a lot of knowledge about things. So that'll keep you, but also satisfaction of just going home and not, being able to turn off everything that happened during the day and just being done. I've left a job because it was so stressful at work that I brought that stress home. I couldn't turn it off because I was so stressed at work because maybe we didn't have enough people, or maybe it was dangerous because there were so many sick people for the nurses. That stress affects me, and then maybe when I get home, I'm stressed out still. And my wife says something, I get mad at my wife. I get mad at my kids. I'm not happy, right?
It's happened a lot in mechanics.
It happens. Yeah. So for me, it's not worth the extra money. It's not worth the things if I'm going to come home and it affects my family.
Yeah.
Right, my family is more important. So those are things I look for. One thing is how I feel when I get home. If I can just turn it off, if there's enough nurses at the hospital that I can leave everything to them, and when I go home, I know that patient is getting taken care of.
This is the difference, because when you leave, someone can take care of the problem that you left. Okay, the sick people, the sick guy or man that came, and you're taking care of it, but it wasn't done. And when you transfer it to the next person, that person is trained. He has enough knowledge. and she has enough knowledge, they can take care of it. But it's not the same thing in our industry. When we leave a car in our shop is undone, and you couldn't diagnose the car, you come home with the same stress. You can't turn it off because there's no one to take care of it. You need to go back and take care of it. Either it's a Sunday or Saturday or off day. They can cancel your vacation easily because you didn't finish the job.
Didn't finish.
And what I'm proud about the being mechanic, same thing. People that talk about me because I work on Prius, hybrids, on cars that most mechanic, they have a fear, they don't want to work, and they see me, I understand these cars, they like it, they talk about me. And that's why I found out if I become a specialist in something, it's much better to do everything. I can tell the customer, hey, this is the expectation you need to have from me. I'm gonna fix your hybrid battery, your hybrid cars and stuff. Don't ask me about your diesel car. Don't ask me about your bike. Don't ask me about the small engine you have in your lawnmower. I don't know. I don't need to know. Because sometimes you feel, because I go to customer's house, I'll fix a car and they show me another car. Hey, I have a truck that's leaking. Can you look at that? And they expect me to know everything. That's a bad thing. And if I don't know, I maybe feel bad. I can't say. Sometimes some car comes, I don't know how to open a hood. And they look at me weird. I'm not supposed to know every car. I'm like you, human, I'm learning. I'm going through this. You're the car owner. You don't know. How I'm supposed to know. All right. Last question. Future outlook. How do you see the future of your profession? Are there any upcoming changes or challenges that you think will significantly impact your industry?
So I think there's always going to be a need for nurses. It's kind of a future-proof job for right now, at least. I think we see on the TV sometimes in the future they have machines giving medicine and stuff and things like that. And during the pandemic, they were actually researching, they called them like mobile doctors, where it was like a machine that you could take your blood pressure and the doctor spoke to you, and then they were researching if they could have a machine give you medicine instead of a person. And right now that technology doesn't exist. There's no, they don't have any kind of automated way for a machine to do what nurses do yet. So I think we're fairly future-proof for now that we're always going to be needed. Technology is not taking our jobs away from us. It's just making our jobs easier so far. Some technology that's making it easier is like stethoscopes that we listen to the heart and lungs. We used to have to listen and identify things, and now they have digital ones. So they actually amplify the sound so we can hear better. And they have software to be able to read kind of what we're hearing. So that's just assisting us. It's making our jobs easier because it can differentiate the sounds maybe better than we can. But I don't see any kind of future trend of anything taking over nursing. If anything, states like California and New York have mandatory ratios. So one nurse only can take care of so many people. So I think with future, it's actually just going to be safer for nurses than in the past, because sometimes in the past we had to take care of 5 or 6 or 7 patients because we're so busy. But certain states are seeing that that's not good for health, that a nurse is taking care of so many people, and they're making laws about how many people we can take care of. So I don't see any...
I wish there was a law how many cars I can take care of. There's no law. As much as you can, just take care of them.
Yeah. Georgia doesn't have a law right now, but we're hoping to see that change.
Georgia is always behind everything. It's just, let's see, it's improving.
Yeah.
We will see, I think. How do you see people, young generations, interest to become a nurse? Do you see a lot of people going to this field?
Yeah, there's been a shortage of nurses for the last, as far as I can remember. Even before I was a nurse, they were saying, by the year 2000, we're going to be this many nurses short. By the year 2010, we're going to be this many nurses short. We're always short nurses. And I think it might be some of the education. It's not an easy job. Like, it pays very well. Scheduling's good. But the work itself can be pretty demanding and stressful. You're on your feet for 12 hours a day. That's a lot of movement. That's a lot of work.
And you need to be in your work physically, emotionally,
concentrated. Sometimes, you said earlier you didn't get a lunch or you can't go to the bathroom. Nurses are really bad about not drinking water all day because we don't have time to stop to go to the bathroom. If I drink water, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
If I don't drink water, I don't have to. That's really bad for our bodies. It's bad for our kidneys. And as nurses, we should know. But sometimes we're so busy, we put the patient before ourselves.
Sacrifice your health.
Yeah. I think, okay, I'm not going to drink all day so I don't have to go to the bathroom, because then what if I leave and this person,
something
happens to them? So it's not an easy job, but it's definitely a rewarding job and a very secure job.
Yeah, same thing with the other technician. There is a shortage. There's not enough mechanic everywhere you go, regardless if it's a dealership or auto mechanic shop, they're hiring. As an auto technician right now, if I go to any shop, they hire me right away because they can't find the proper mechanic. But the bad thing is just this flat rate is killing. If I want to work in any places, I would take commission. Commission plus salary. I want both because I want to secure it. I'm in this field like 8 or 9 years. I want to get something back. I invest a lot of money, put a lot of hours. But about the technology that I see, the things that changed, the car industry, like nursing, you can't find, a lot of robots, a lot of things. They build the car, but they can't fix car because need a lot of diagnostic, a lot of things you require thinking. But the difference between nursing sometimes when I get sick, go to a hospital, the nurse talk to me and I feel better because it give me hope, it give me some positive things. Oh, don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. This like this. What I'm gonna say to car, just you're gonna be okay. That's okay. You're gonna have a oil leak, a little bit pain. I'll put some screw on you. You'll be okay. You can't talk to cars, but you can talk to humans. I think that's a big difference. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think nursing's. I think it's a great job, and if you are able to, if you're able to take the stresses of it, it's a job that you can do pretty much forever. You can do it until you retire because there's so many different kinds of nursing. The one thing is, depending on, we have to take care of all patients the same. So even if someone comes in and is drunk and is cussing us and is trying to hurt us, if he's sick, we still have to take care of him. We can't just put him out on the street or say, go away. We still have to take care of him. Even if he's rude, even rude patients, we have to take care of and make them better. And also we have to take care of people regardless of their race or religion or gender. And that's difficult. That might be difficult for some people, especially maybe women taking care of men, for certain religions or cultures. If you're Muslim, it might be very difficult for a Muslim woman to have to take care of a man.
And vice versa.
And especially vice versa, a Muslim man, it might be very difficult for him to take care of a woman because we do things and we're touching their bodies, right? And those are in different cultures and religions, those are things you can't do. And we see their whole body. We see them naked a lot. Every day we see, because we have to know what's going on. If you were shot with a gun, we have to make sure there was only one hole. That, or did it come out? Or did you hear 5 gunshots but only feel one? We have to look everywhere to find if there's more holes because they could still be bleeding or dying. I have people at work and at first it's very difficult for them, especially younger men or younger women. Maybe they're 21, 22 and just get out of college. They're not married. They're, living with their family still. And now they have to, they're seeing men and women in different ways that they haven't seen them before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's very difficult and we can't say no. You can't say, I can't take care of this patient. We have to take care of everybody. So that can be very difficult for some people.
Yeah, this is 50-50 in car industry. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. If car comes to our shop or I go to check the car and I see if I can't find the problem, sometimes I do misdiagnostic or I can't find it. I'm not able to find the problem. Or I don't like the person, he's cussing, he's rude. I said, all right, find someone else. Bye. I'm saying bye, that's all. You can find another mechanic in just 2 minutes. But yeah, as a patient, because you guys work in a salary, contract and stuff, if you leave the job they can sue you.
Oh, yeah.
You get in trouble and you have to take care. I've seen a lot of sick people. I went to emergency, they're cussing, they're angry, they're dirty, they're nasty, they smell filthy people. Sometimes you can't really tell them. It's the same thing in the car industry, but the cars are different. You can get the brake cleaner and wash it or ignore the interior if it's nasty, but humans, you keep touching and you smelling, seeing. It's hard to tell them, hey, go take shower and come back.
Yeah, we cannot. Once they're in the hospital, we have to do everything we can for them, even if they can't pay, right? I don't even know if people pay or not. They keep that away from me. That's not my responsibility. But people come in and they might have bugs. And I want to say, if they have lice, kids get lice sometimes from school, and they bring them to the emergency department, and I want to say, why did you bring them here? Why didn't you go to Walmart and buy the medicine and put it on? I feel like this is common knowledge, but they want us to do it at the hospital. I can't tell them, no, I'm not going to treat you because you have bugs.
Oh, they bring people
They
because
bring
of
their
lice?
children with lice into the hospital.
Oh.
And now they're sitting next to other people. So I can say, hey, I don't think it was a good idea to be around other people.
Yeah, I'm amazed sometimes I see people, when I was overseas, when I was in Middle East, I was thinking about America. Oh, a lot of knowledgeable people, a lot of educated, high-level people. When I came here, I see people, they can't speak English. My English was far better than them. I said, wow, I didn't expect this.
Yeah.
Same thing in the car industry. When I see people, they don't know the car need the oil change, and they don't know they need to wash their car and clean their car and keep their car clean. So it changed my perspective totally about the people. No, there is a lot of people, they don't know basic things. And last time I went to a restaurant and I saw a guy, he had a nail, and his nail all black, nasty. They don't wash their hand, and he's a waiter. He served food. And as soon as I saw that, I told my wife, let's leave. I don't want to eat here.
Yeah.
Because this is just, that's what I see. What's going on back there when they cook the food. I don't see it in the kitchen. But I'm sure if I go there, maybe people, they walk barefoot, they don't use gloves, they don't use any hand. And it just showed me the whole environment. And I see people, they don't know basic stuff. Basic stuff. Cut your nail, clean up your hand, wash your hand. Even if you're a waiter, you're just working in the restaurant, you're feeding people, and you don't know this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to take a lot of your time. Thanks, brother, for coming.
No problem.
Really appreciate, and thank you guys for watching. If you made it up to just end of this video, just leave a comment if you have anything missed. I know there's a lot of questions that we can ask, go back and forth, but it may take for a day to answer all those questions. If you know something, if you want to add something, put it in the comment. And if you don't like this video, just let me know why. And if you like it, just hit the like and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Thank you.